Okie doke. Hey, welcome to UTS Startups Confessions. My name's Dave. Murray is on holiday, having the time of his life somewhere. I don't know where. But we're all here, which is all that matters. Every single Friday we get together and we chat to awesome founders from our UTS Startups community who are doing cool things. And today we get to chat to the awesome Ed and Sam from Clipboard. So can we get a big round of applause for these fellas? I've chatted to you guys before, but it's always fun hearing the Clipboard story again. And many of you for the first time. Who's ever heard of Clipboard here before, actually? Yeah, we've got a few fans.
Three people.
Like we have some audience plants, in fact, which is awesome. But hey, I want you guys to introduce yourselves in case I screw it up, basically. But tell us what is Clipboard, essentially, for anyone who might not know.
Sam,
Okay.
be my guest.
So Clipboard is an extracurricular management system. So we like to say that we're building a new category in the EdTech space. So every school has a student information system which manages all the student data, a learning management system like Canvas or Blackboard that manages the curriculum and homework. And then Clipboard comes in as that third key management system that we believe every school in the world needs, which is an extracurricular management system. And an extracurricular management system is that single source of truth for all extracurricular data collection, reporting, and communication across everything that schools do outside the classroom. So outside of the classroom, schools are running sports, music, drama, performing arts, and other co-curricular activities. And we come in to provide that single source of truth, ultimately improving the experience for the students, staff, and parents involved.
Awesome. That sounds sexy. Yeah. Okay. Ed's like, sure.
haven't heard it described.
Okay, boys, I'm across what you guys do, but I mean, let's go back 3.5 years-ish. Is that sort of how far back we're going here to what was life like before Clipboard for you? You guys knew each other, obviously.
You need to get in the time machine. Go back a little bit further than that.
Pretend we had a time machine, Ed, and we went back to, So what was life like before you guys started Clipboard?
Yeah, so we predate UTS Startups, actually.
That is true.
Which we just celebrated the fourth birthday of.
Yeah.
Probably 5.5 years, really. Started as a project.
Okay.
During uni days for Sam and I. So Sam and I have never had any other full-time job other than Clipboard, and we've somehow managed to build a company.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and thank you. So Sam and I knew each other from school. We both went to the same school. We were a couple of years apart at school. Who do you reckon was the older and the younger?
I think an audience show of hands. Who thinks Ed was the senior of the two? Oh, interesting. Sam? Yeah. All right. So people are confused.
Some people think that most people think we're the exact same age.
Okay.
And they'd be right. No.
Set the record straight, Ed.
So I know. Yeah, I was a couple of years above Sam.
Yep.
And Sam was like best mates with my brother.
Yep.
And so I just knew Sam since he was in year 7, and
wow,
that was the original connection. And
cool.
then we rendezvoused early uni days.
Yeah.
At his brother's birthday party.
Yeah, I had a dislocated shoulder and a sling, and I had I don't even know if I probably couldn't shake your hand, but we were talking about the ideas that we had, and we both had 2 different ideas. And Sam's, we actually ended up voting that Sam's initial idea was better than my idea to work on.
Okay.
So my idea was a sports management system. Sam's idea was an app that you can take a photo of the clothes that you're wearing.
Yes.
And it then uses what was it, OCI? Is that the technology? Some sort of technology to basically take that and do a Google search of where can I buy this great glitch beanie.
Yeah.
And so we worked on Sam's.
Well, Ed pitched me the idea for Clipboard, which...
What was your reaction to it?
Clipboard was your idea for a year or 2 before, and you'd worked on it for Knox and Ed had built a presentation for the school. And then at the party, you pitched it to me as a timesheets app for Knox basketball coaches.
Niche, very niche.
And I was like, dude, terrible idea. Come work on my thing. I convinced you to come work on my thing.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then we did my app that I had an idea for, and I couldn't code, so Ed built the whole thing. And then all of our friends were like, this is like a pedo app because you would like take photos of people on the street when they were walking by to like see what they were wearing, and we didn't realize that. So we had to shut it down.
Okay, but you didn't shut down all your dreams because Ed just went on in there.
And then Clipboard made sense. And then I was like, it's more than just basketball coach
much more
time
schools
sheets.
friendly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. So obviously you were both at UTS, right? Oh no.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's some sort of uni
No
down the
comment,
road,
no comment,
bit of
yeah.
sandstone, whatever. Okay, so you're doing computer science, and Sam, you were studying comms.
Communications.
Yeah, communications. Cool, very cool. So not like a technical degree, but what sort of made you interested in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I guess I was always pretty interested in startups and tech and
Yep.
loved the creative side.
Yep.
So I wanted to actually go into advertising initially and then realized that probably wasn't for me. Didn't want to sell KFC. I did an internship doing like KFC advertising and I was like,
Yeah,
I don't
we
wanna
love
do this.
KFC. If anyone is, I don't, but yeah, no shade.
And yeah, decided that it would be cool to do an idea and build a business. And then Ed and I got chatting, and then, as I described, we ended up having a crack in building Clipboard. But it was very much just a project still during uni.
Yeah.
I was completely useless technically, so
Yes,
Ed was like doing all
initially.
the work, and I was like trying to sell, but didn't really know how to sell to the
Yeah.
school. And
So wait,
then
you
we were
guys
both coaching
at university as students
Yeah,
and building this app and selling it to customers
For
already.
like 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
or customer.
Customer.
Yeah,
So
okay.
our market was one.
One customer.
Essentially.
So surely you did all this market research and identified the... No?
Well, that's what I would recommend doing that. But we got lucky, I guess. Our one customer was the school that we were both coaching basketball at. And,
Awesome.
and then we went, we probably should verify that this isn't just a problem just for one school.
Yep.
And then we sort of did some.
Yeah, like we talked to some
we
buddies that
semi-verified
coached at like the school up the road.
Yeah. And we were like, that's
Yeah.
good enough. And yeah, anyway, luckily it did turn out to be validated as like this is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Most schools
we're
are.
talking like 5-ish years ago at this point. Fast forward to now, how many customers does Clipboard have?
So I've gone from 1 to more than 90.
90 enterprise customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So market research, take it or leave it. Okay.
You should take it.
Yeah, you should take it. Very cool. Okay. So I mean, obviously that just wasn't a walk in the park to get to all of those customers. What did you guys find in the first year or so of starting a business?
Didn't really learn anything. Yeah.
What did we find? Look, I think that it was very much a process of learning as we went and just making heaps of mistakes. Ed and I have talked a lot about how if we did it again, it would be much quicker. We could probably get to where we are now in 2 or 3 years rather than 5.5.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't have any credibility, we didn't have any experience, we didn't know what we were doing, we were just making it up. And so I think that anyone that's doing a second time business is always going to have an easier ride because you've got connections, you know investors,
You've got
people
advantage.
respect you,
Yes.
you know people to bring onto the team, and you just kind of know what you're doing.
Yes.
Whereas we were just coaching basketball and didn't really...
We didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Like I was supposedly the tech guy and I didn't even know what an API was. And that's kind of like fundamental to like the back end of a system.
It's like
and the
quality
back end is-
education,
yeah.
mate.
Yeah, I really, at the university that shall not be named, I really was equipped with all the skills
He went to
that
the
I
wrong
needed.
university. If he'd been to UTS,
Yeah, of course.
totally different. Yeah.
So I feel like most of my technical computer science related knowledge I definitely
Yep.
learnt on the job,
Yep.
not at university, not in,
Yep.
not in a university context.
Cool.
And same with business as well, because like that was my other degree is commerce, and
Yeah.
definitely learned a lot more
Yeah.
outside of uni. Maybe one other massive learning is that there's always like fires and there's always like a big list, but you will never, ever, ever, and this is hard for me to get my head around even still, you'll never, ever, ever get anywhere remotely near the bottom of the list ever.
Yeah.
And you just need to make sure that you prioritize your list as the first thing and only fight like the top sort of 1 or 2 fires and just leave the others be.
Yeah.
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 So you would have schools probably calling you, talking to you about things that weren't working properly, trying to do your study, your part-time jobs, live your lives, and build a business at the same time.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's obviously a lot going on there, and we could talk about all of the technical kind of things involved in building that business. But what about like from a well-being perspective? Like you guys are sort of meant to be having fun going to parties, and yet you're building like a rapidly growing startup. Like any tips around staying happy and enjoying what you do?
I think Ed made such a good point. Like, I think it's in any job in the modern economy, but particularly if you're doing a startup where there's essentially or always finite resources to help.
Yep.
There's always a million and one things that could or even frankly should get done, but you just can't.
Yep.
And like Ed was saying before, for me, a big learning curve has been the exact same thing, which is that, it would be great to do that. And like, we really need to like update the marketing website, but it's like, we have no one that can do that. And if I do that, this other thing isn't going to happen, and that's more important. And so it's like, just a big learning has been, as Ed said, let those fires burn and be okay with it, because there's always going to be things that just aren't possible to do if you want to do the one or two things that actually move the needle.
And those fires will still be burning when you're in personal life mode. And so you need to be like okay with the fact that there's lots of things that are unresolved. Otherwise you'll be constantly anxious.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, because I mean, you guys are sort of now mid-20s, early 20s, mid-20s.
Let's call it. Let's call it that.
I guess like you've never had a job outside of the startup you built for yourselves coming out of university. The one thing that I always notice about you is that your team is everywhere. You guys seem to have people all over the place.
They're everywhere.
Literally right now. It's like a rent a crowd, but I guess you didn't start with you didn't start with this many stuff. Like, how did that happen, and like, how did you guys build such an amazing team?
I mean, our team is the most important part of Clipboard. I'm not saying that to be cliche or anything, but like, genuinely, that's something that's a philosophy that we've taken through, like, from our first full-time hire, James, hey James, through to like most recent hires, is just being really careful. Like, if we ever have a gut feeling that, like, should we bring this person on? It's always absolutely don't. We've spent a lot of time, and at times it's been, and I think a few people can attest, it's been a very painful process hiring people, because we've had to say like no to a lot of people because they weren't the right fit, and but it's been worth it, and like, we've got a great team, and I mean, I could probably talk for hours on hiring, but it's extremely important, and culture is really important. And if you hire one person in a small startup, that's the equivalent of a big company. Maybe hiring a whole department. So it changes your culture a lot. Going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 to 15. It's just a few little tidbits.
Very cool. I think like so many people could really watch and learn from you guys, especially because a lot of our startups are just starting out, or they are just one person or a couple of people. So I think what you guys have built is awesome. I guess we need to kind of keep moving because we don't have a lot of time, but moving ahead, it's been 5-ish years or so. So 90-something school customers. You've got a team of around 20. Wow, it's incredible. All hanging out at UTS Startups, which we love. And so what's the future of Clipboard at this point?
So we're currently in the process of raising capital right now, our next round of funding. And we should be announcing that in the next month or so, which is really exciting. We've got some big names that will be coming in as part of that. And the goal really is to be the global leader in this new category that we're creating, which is the extracurricular management system. Canvas is the global leader of the learning management system category. And they're synonymously known with that category everywhere. When you think of the LMS, Canvas is the name that everyone goes to. And so we really want Clipboard to be that player in the extracurricular space. And ultimately for the benefit of helping kids get more value out of participating in activities. And so the plan moving forward is, as we raise this capital, we're continuing to grow the team. The focus will be on Australia and New Zealand for the next for the remainder of this year, and then growing internationally. So we've actually just signed up our first school in Malaysia, which is really exciting.
Very cool.
The Prince of Wales Island International School in Penang, and the Asian International School represents a really large opportunity for us. It's about 8 to 10 times the size of the Australian independent school market. and the schools are also bigger over there. So it's just a great opportunity for us. And then following on from that, moving into probably the UK as well sometime next year. So really doubling down on expansion and building as we grow, building a sustainable global business.
And a great product.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds very cool and very inspiring. Just like one more thought, if you were to be able to, again, the time machine, speak to younger Sam and Ed and just give you some advice on how to start. Maybe you're still at university, maybe you've got these ideas but you don't quite know how to get started. What would you say?
Probably a lot of lessons that we've learned that you actually don't need to learn through experience, and you can just like listen to us tell you the lessons. But just trying to think of like maybe one or two of the most important ones. One is probably to quote Nike, just do it. Like actually like you can talk about it and talk about, well, I might do this, I might do that, but just do it and just start doing it. And I think even now, it's only been a few years, but if you start now, you actually probably have access to way more resources than we had access to.
Yep.
Like, you know, with UTS Startups, we started pre-UTS Startups. UTS Startups has been a big thing for us. Other accelerator programs, like there's a bunch of them now. There's lots of communities. There's way more VC firms, and they won't necessarily invest in you, but maybe they will. But if they don't invest in you, they'll at least like connect you with people. Just like you'll be surprised at the number of resources that are out there that are like just untapped, and you just need to ask. I think it's a bit more of like an American cultural thing to go and just talk to people and just do something and just try and get help. And Australians are more like, oh, I'm just going to sort of keep to myself, and like they're probably no one's probably going to help me. But you'd be really, really surprised if you actually just seek that help. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to give you a leg up and take a chance on you, like our first customer did. Like so many people have in so many different respects.
And I would just further that and sort of throw my hat in the ring for UTS Startups as well, because in terms of that support, I really don't think we'd be Clipboard as we are today without UTS Startups. And that's not really an overstatement, because when we were starting out, like we had, I think, one paying customer for 6 doing a trial when we joined UTS Startups. Didn't know what we were doing, and we were super inexperienced, and certainly I think I was too arrogant to kind of accept that in some way as well. Like, you know, it's the classic thing, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And when we joined UTS Startups, we got partnered up with Alan Jones, who's been a great mentor to us, and he immediately, it's Alan the nice one Jones, for those that are worried. He's not the Alan Jones radio host. And he immediately kind of took us under his wing in a way and gave us a lot of feedback. It was quite direct in the feedback as well. And through that support that we got through UTS Startups, he then got us into Mura D, the startup accelerator run by Telstra, where he was the entrepreneur in residence. He guided us through that. We got some funding out of that. And then he got us into StartMate Accelerator as well. So certainly the UTS support has been huge, and I'd say tap into it. It's there to be had. And something that I've certainly learned as well is people genuinely want to help. And if you just reach out and you just ask for help, ask for a coffee, ask to get advice, people are typically inclined to want to do that because it feels good, and they want to help the next generation come through.
Awesome. That's such good advice. I feel like that's such a good answer. Okay, so for people watching at home, for people here, what could they do to help you guys? Clipboard.app.
Clipboard.app. Yeah, that's probably.
Schools, teachers, school staff.
Yeah, look, if anyone knows any schools that could use an extracurricular management system, send them our way. We'll be glad to have the leads.
It's a very niche request.
Awesome. Well, hey, that was incredible. What we're going to do right now is switch you off. And we're going to get to anyone here who's come today with burning questions about sort of anything else about Clipboard or their journey. We're going to answer those. And then, hang out like we do every single Friday. So make sure if you've got time, come down and visit us. But for now, can we all just appreciate Sam and Ed from Clipboard for being so awesome and honest in this last 20 minutes or so. So thank you so much. Pleasure. Awesome. All right.